We know Old El Paso makes some great Mexican food products. We know Totino's makes great pizza products. And now they both make ramen. Hello, Goblins and Goblinettes. Welcome back to another edition of Destined to be Goblin. Destined Goblin here, and I am being joined by
Mrs. Goblin.
And this is where we will try a food product of some kind, maybe something you didn't even know existed, and we will decide whether or not we should give it my Destined Goblin seal of approval. Yes, that is correct. Old El Paso and Totino's have come out with ramen, believe it or not. Now, we've all had ramen. I got through college living off of ramen, so I'm sure we've all tried ramen products before. But we're probably used to more of the Asian type of ramen, of course. The Japanese flavors, the Asian flavors. Now we've got two ramen products from Old El Paso. This one is Fajita. And what have you got over there?
Old El Paso Beef Birria.
Beef Birria. If you guys have been following my channel for a while, you know that I absolutely love birria. So I am excited to try that one. And then from Totino's, the pizza people, we've got two flavors of ramen noodles that are pizza flavored. This one is buffalo style chicken pizza.
And cheese pizza.
Okay, so let's get the calorie counts on these real quick. The Fajita Old El Paso is 220 calories for this whole container.
The Beef Birria is 200 calories.
A little bit less. And then the Buffalo Style Chicken Pizza from Totino's, 240 calories.
And 220 calories for the cheese pizza.
Now, it looks like all of the directions are basically the same. It's load them up with water up to the fill line, pop them in the microwave for 2 minutes, and then you let them sit for 2 to 3 minutes. So we're going to load everything up, cook them all up, and then we're going to try everything together. I do have Minnie loaded up with some nice cold water right there as a palate cleanser. We are still here in Minnesota, so we're going to go ahead and get these heated up, and then we'll start tasting. All right, so everybody's cooked up, and we're going to go ahead and get started. And we will start with, what have we got there? That is the Beef Birria. So the instructions do say, again, you pour the water up to the fill line, microwave 2.5 minutes, let it stand for 2 minutes, and then stir it. So we'll go ahead and stir it up, get it nice and... Okay. And let's go ahead and take a taste and see what you think. All right, so let's see. I don't know if we can see any of that. Looks like the noodles are not your traditional ramen noodles there. They've got more of that flatter, broader noodle. We got a lot of little pieces of beef in there that I'm seeing. And let's see, little pieces of carrots. Now, I am a very big fan of beef birria, so let's see if this reminds me of birria at all.
I'm going to try with the spoon.
Noodles are cooked nicely. Sometimes ramen gets a little chewy. Sometimes, if you don't cook it long enough, it's not the best texture. I'm really interested in the flavor here. And we do have some broth in this spoonful, so let's see what I get.
I don't see a whole lot of other... I mean, there are little tidbits.
They're tiny
stuff,
little...
It's mostly noodle with the broth.
Yeah, there are tiny little pieces of beef in here. I don't know that I can really get a good picture. This is really hot too, so but you can see the beef is kind of very minuscule in size, but there are quite a few little...
Well, I guess maybe at the bottom.
Yeah, there's quite a few pieces in there. Let me get some of the broth on its own, and I'll pass this back over to you. You know, surprisingly for me, I know that there's always been a big knock on ramen because it's so high in sodium. It's super high in sodium. What's the numbers on there?
1,220 milligrams, or 53% of this.
53%. We're eating 4 of these, so 53% of your daily allowance of sodium is in one of these. So I know that there always has been a big knock on ramen for that reason, because of the sodium content. But I don't find that one particularly salty.
No. And I think if you don't sit there and guzzle, which most of the time you like the broth,
Yeah.
but, so
Yeah.
you're going to drink the broth.
Yeah.
But if you don't drink as much of the broth, which is where a lot of that sodium is, you could probably, reduce the amount of sodium that you take in. So
you can, one of the tricks you can, if you do like ramen but you don't want all that sodium, if you get most of the other types of ramens, not necessarily these ones that come in the bowls, although some of them are the same, just use half of that packet instead of using that full seasoning packet. You can cut the sodium down a little bit. You cannot do that with this. These do not have anything that you mix in. They are all ready to go. You just pour the water in, so you're kind of stuck. I also don't know that I get anything in that reminds me of beef birria.
I mean, it's a decent broth, but if you're looking for birria, no.
Yeah, it's not a bad flavor. It's beefy enough, I guess. But birria has that. You get that consomme with it, and it has that very distinct, almost oiliness that comes from the way that the meat is cooked in those juices. And other than the residue that kind of, if you get that kind of gets stuck to the side there, that is the only thing that reminds you of birria on this. So, not bad as a ramen. If you're looking for birria, maybe not the best. All right, we'll cleanse the palate and we will move on to the next one. Okay, now we've got fajita. And now the thing about fajita is it can be chicken or it can be beef. So the question is, what do we have here? We've got, apparently neither. We have pasta, dehydrated vegetables, spices. Oh, it's chicken. It is chicken broth. Okay, so these are chicken fajitas. Let's get this nice and stirred up again. And now I am seeing, again, pieces of carrots, little peppers in there. Not really seeing any chunks of chicken, unlike that broth. Wow, that is really hot. These cups get really hot, so do be aware of that. This does actually smell like fajita. I do get the aroma of fajita off of this one. I will be the first one to admit I love Mexican food. I am not a big fan of fajitas. So we'll see what I think about this one. The thing about the fajita, I guess I've always felt if you're going to have a fajita, why not just get a taco? So I don't know. I mean, this way it's already made. You don't have to do it yourself.
Yeah, you'll go to places like, what is the fondue places? Where you got to sit there and
Fondue is different. Ooh, that's got some heat. Ooh, that's got some spice in it. Yeah, I mean, fajitas are always served with the sizzling platters, and you build it all yourself and everything. Just give me a taco. I don't know if you got as much. I know you grabbed some with the fork there. I don't know if you got as much of the heat on that because
I was trying it without the
broth. I think I'll go the other way.
A lot of the heat.
You are getting the heat. Okay.
It retains a lot of it.
Okay, I thought maybe the heat was only going to be in the broth, but I guess it has soaked into the noodles. Okay. Let's see here. That actually does have a nice fajita flavor. I mean, there is a fajita spice. And that is very reminiscent of the fajita spice. So that one is a little more impressive to me. I thought of the two Old El Pasos, I would love the birria one more. I think I actually like the fajita better because I think overall it has more flavor also.
Yeah.
It's a little bit saltier. It's a lot spicier than the birria. And I think there's more flavor to it overall than there is with the birria. So. All right, Old El Paso done. We will move on to Totino's. All right, so this first one is cheese pizza. We will start with the cheese pizza. Oh, that smells very cheesy. You can get that tomato aroma. Okay, and then this one has, let's see if we can see that, a nice red broth there to it, as you would expect from pizza, of course. So let's get a little spoonful of this one and try this one. This one's really hot.
This one has a lot less sodium.
Oh, it does?
920.
Oh. Which is still like, what, 49%?
It is 40%.
40%. So here's a better look at that broth. Almost kind of a tomato soup looking broth to it.
That's what I was going to say. It's kind of like a tomato bisque almost.
Yes, yes.
It's got that. It does have a creamier flavor than just.
It is much creamier. I get the cheese off of it. I do get that cheese flavor. Does it remind me of pizza, though? I don't know if it reminds me. Usually, when I'm thinking pizza, I'm thinking of those Italian spices, the oregano, especially the oregano, and all that, the basil, all that stuff that is usually incorporated into either the sauce or sprinkled on top or in the crust or whatever, especially oregano. And I am not getting oregano at all off of that.
Doesn't look like there is any.
There's no oregano
in there.
That I don't understand that. I mean, if you,
that's why.
Yeah, that I do not understand. I like the flavor of this. I think if you want something like a tomato soup with noodles, I think is more accurate of a description of this. Not bad, but I don't know that it's pizza.
Dehydrated vegetables, tomato, garlic, and onion. So maybe.
So tomato, garlic, and
like
onion, according
green.
to the instructions.
There's green in there.
There's something green in there that concerns me a little bit. Since there's nothing
That's
in
why
the.
I was like, well, maybe that's the oregano, but there is no oregano that I'm seeing on here.
Nothing green listed in the ingredients.
You want to look?
That's a little concerning. I do see what you're talking about. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show that to the camera or not. Very hard to get a good look in these. Dehydrated vegetables, tomato, garlic, and onion, and then nothing else. Parsley. There is parsley.
Oh,
yeah, down at the bottom there's parsley.
Okay,
so maybe maybe we're looking at parsley. So.
Which doesn't have a lot of flavor.
It does not.
So I would think that they would have picked the oregano.
Yeah, that's
that would be
confusing, especially from somebody.
Seasoning.
Especially from somebody who knows pizza. I mean, Totino's is all about pizza rolls. I mean, you guys know oregano into pizza. All right, one to go. Cleanse our palate and move on. All right, and finally, we come to buffalo-style chicken pizza. Now, one thing that Mrs. Garland just pointed out is that this is a much thicker broth. This is definitely like a bisque. This actually has the color, to me, of one of our favorites, which is lobster bisque. It has that same coloration. Now, buffalo-style chicken pizza, I would assume that we are going to get some heat off of this. And if we're not going to have any heat, then I would say they're immediately going to fail, because buffalo, we should definitely be getting some heat. So let's see what we've got here. All of the noodles are basically the same in these. They're that flatter, broader noodle than what you usually see in ramen. Little bit of heat and very authentic buffalo style. Very authentic buffalo flavor. You get that vinegar tang that's in buffalo sauce. I love buffalo anything. Buffalo flavor is one of my favorites. This reminds me very much of buffalo. Now, buffalo pizza? Buffalo soup, definitely. Buffalo ramen. Buffalo pizza? And it's also buffalo-style chicken pizza. Is there chicken in here? Chicken stock. It is made with chicken stock. I don't know that I'm getting any chicken flavor necessarily off of this. Any other thoughts on that one?
It's got a nice creamy flavor and everything.
And buffalo, you agree? It's got yeah. I think they nailed the buffalo flavor. If nothing else, they got the fajita flavor right. They got the buffalo flavor right. Okay, so as I've said with some of these multi-item reviews that we do sometimes, a lot of times, I try to go into them with a completely open mind, not really expecting anything, but a lot of times I will have sort of an idea in my mind of what I think is going to be my favorite. And I honestly thought the beef birria and even the cheese pizza, I thought were going to be my two favorites. It turns out that we are both in agreement. Our two favorites are the fajita and the buffalo chicken pizza. We think both of these are very good, and we're going to call that a 2-star seal of approval. Okay, there we go. These are brand new. I have no idea how widespread they are as far as availability right now in the United States. They are supposed to roll out across the country. I think the reason we were able to find these fairly quickly is because we are still here in Minnesota, and apparently these are made right here in Minneapolis. So I think we're not in Minneapolis, but we're close to Minneapolis, and I think that's why we were able to find these so easily. Fairly cheap. I think each one of them was about $2, somewhere in there.
I think less.
So maybe even a little bit less. Yeah, I think it was under. I think each one was under $2. And a nice quick meal if you need something fast. You're in the mood for a buffalo chicken pizza, and you can't get to a buffalo chicken pizza, but you can get to water and you can cook some ramen. Pick up one of these. Check those out if you'd like to try those for yourself, and we will catch you next time.